What's up, you sweet and salty leather-clad weirdos? We're Thralls of Metal. I'm Rin.
Necrotic Nick.
And we're here to review Ministry, Moral Hygiene.
So this also comes out on the 1st of October, kicking off the gauntlet of shit that is coming out this month. This comes out on Nuclear Blast Records, formed in 1981 in Chicago by one Al Jorgensen, also known as...
He is known as the Alien Jorgensen, Hypo Luxa, Buck Satan, Uncle Al Jorgensen, Al, and of course, Al fucking Jorgensen.
And he is all of those people. So this is their, almost his 15th album. Al Jorgensen's been pretty much a fixture in the industrial scene, metal scene, and if you're a member of Metallica, he's also known as the Flying Dutchman, and I encourage you to look that one up. Just type in Al Jorgensen and the Flying Dutchman, and you will get a fun article to read.
It's a fun evening.
Definitely. Beware the vegetable tray. So, honestly, I have been hesitant about anything new coming from Ministry because, honestly, I haven't been a big fan of, like, the last 3 albums, to be honest. But Ministry was a huge part of my teen years. I have played Mine is a Terrible Thing to Taste and Psalm 69 to death, but I still love them and I still come back to them often. So Ministry is always going to have like a little bit of like a legacy thing with me. I was like, I do want to see Al succeed and write some cool stuff again, and might have actually got it this time. I was not a fan of American at all. I think it was one of the worst albums he put out, but this already opens better than I think anything on that album. Alert Level, really interesting, like kind of a natural, just kind of rocker of a song.
Yeah.
Actually has real drums on it, provided by Roy Mayorga from Stone Sour, formerly of Soulfly. And it's just got this cool kind of biting groove. It's riff driven, but it has the old school industrial feel to it. And that's kind of something that's been missing. He's kind of doing more of like an industrial thrash thing for years. But right away, this kind of harked back to like old Ministry. Not like old Ministry, like, you know, with Sympathy and 12-inch singles.
Yeah.
We kind of start more around Land of Rape and Honey here. That actually has a bit of that sound. It still sounds raw and kind of 90s industrial again, but it's still guitar driven and just a really catchy song.
How concerned are you? That sample is repeated quite a few times in the song. I get almost like a Rob Zombie kind of vibe.
There's like almost kind of like a Middle Eastern sort of like flair to the guitar riff.
The samples are a bit overdone. You got that pigtailed Greta child bitching at adults about the environment. I do feel like dancing, however, though.
It's got a solid groove to it, and you know, again, that was kind of something that we've been missing on like the last few, like even the stuff like Houses of the Mole and Rio Grande Blood, they were definitely more up-tempo.
Mm-hmm.
This whole album kind of locks on a groove.
Yeah, it's pretty groovy, pretty dancey. You know, get your electric tape and make an outfit and go out.
Yeah, just, you know, a couple little X's over the nips and you're good to go. Probably wear pants. Those are, well, I don't know, depending on what club.
The second song is also pretty up-tempo. It's kind of ambient, and there's a decent amount of harmonica on there, which is pretty cool. But it's mellow Ministry, kind of.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's strange because it keeps like an up-tempo rhythm. Like the opening rhythm to it is almost like that.
It's close to Thieves.
Yeah, very similar to Thieves. It kind of where that whole bridge blast part is after the big opening rhythm. But yeah, the song is not necessarily like the heaviest song in terms of like guitar riffs. It's mostly like layers and layers of samples. There's like crowd noise in the background, and it doesn't sound like it's looped very often. So you get like a whole fucking fight going on in the background while Al kind of takes a little bit off the vocals and kind of just melancholy groans at you about how much the world sucks, which, believe me, you're going to know how much the world sucks in every song.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Al.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I would definitely say about this album is it's very all over the place, like tonally, in terms of like songwriting and feel for songs. Like, you get some legit heavy bangers. The last track, TV song number 6, which is definitely a reference to TV 2, which we connected the goddamn dots years ago, but apparently he's asking us to do that. It's somewhere in the blunderbuss of samples and blast beats and
it's that
Yeah, everything.
It's that missing blackened industrial hell we were missing on the rest of the songs.
Yeah, it's just a nuts song, but another interesting callback to something a little bit more obscure. Like TV2 wasn't necessarily a big single, but yeah, anyone that owned that album was like, dude, that fucking song is nuts.
Yeah, there's also some Miserlou Dick Dale type guitars going on in this one too.
Little surf rock, and you pretty much like Al handed someone his black metal demo. Was like, nah, I'm doing this now. What do you think? Like, get 6 more piercings.
Yeah,
and we'll produce it maybe.
Yeah,
and then in terms of like all the thrashy bite that is kind of missing in terms of like the stuff like again Rio Grande Blood, Sabotage the Sex, which Al steps down from the mic and in steps in Jello, and there's always room for Jello.
There's always room for Jello. It's good and belly.
And he's just ranting and raving over some really cool thrash riffs. There's a lot of strange ambiance to the song.
Techno vibes, kind of.
And weird, like, kind of groovy breakdowns with what sounds like Jello maybe muttering at the bottom of a well with a slide whistle.
Yeah. There's Timmy.
He's fine. Just send him a sandwich.
Yeah.
But then you get songs like Believe Me and Broken System, which are very different. Believe Me, honestly, is one of my favorite tracks on here just because it flows so well, but it is a very melodic song. It is sort of driven by melody.
Yeah.
Really, really catchy, softer melodies, despite Al still going, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But the chorus is driven by an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, very strange for Ministry.
Very strange, unless you listen to Lay Lady Lay, but that's not his song. This is his song, and there's an acoustic guitar on it, and it has like a big Killing Joke feel to it.
Yeah.
And I know post-punk, that band probably was heavily influential on Ministry, but you don't really hear it that much.
Yeah.
And the song immediately stood out to me. But here's the thing. As much as it sounds strange, it all works.
Yeah.
It flows really well. It's got some really clever hooks in it. There's some interesting, like, syncopated chugs in there to kind of bring in a little bit of heavy there. But it's just kind of an odd one. It just stands out. You're like, wait, hold on. Am I still listening to the same album?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just different.
Very different. And then Broken System pretty much just takes that flat-out stomp beat from Just One Fix, but adds a dirty, sleazy rock guitar over it.
Yeah, that got very India vibes.
Yes.
It's like a gun showdown in Calcutta.
Yep, there's an elephant at the OK Corral, and I don't know, like it's strange. Like I feel like I was listening to Indian music and also Personal Jesus, or maybe In Excess.
Rob Zombie, Depeche Mode kind of thing going on, and there's some more samples about climate change or some such shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is Ministry, and samples are always a big thing.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cool how he does them because we were talking about this, like the earlier ones. You had grainier samples just because it was, sound quality wasn't as good in terms of like ripping them. You can get perfectly clear samples now, but he kind of muddies them up and makes them sound like old newsreel. It still crackles and hisses, and that kind of adds to the atmosphere.
And Trump makes an appearance on at least 3 different songs.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, is it really a Ministry album unless he's bitching about some president?
That's true.
Another thing I thought that was interesting about this album is generally on a Ministry album, you get kind of a uniform drum sound because they're programmed.
Yes, yeah.
In case you didn't know, it's pretty obvious. But this one, he actually kind of changes around the drum sound a lot from track to track. And that is kind of something different. Like generally, again, it's kind of a static thing. Like, all right, this is how the drums are going to sound for this entire album. You might get a little bit of variance here and there. You get variance from track to track.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get flat out organic drums. Like I said, alert level.
Yeah, which is
real drums. And then from track to track, you get like a more splashy sort of synth snare or like a real tight one. Sometimes you get a plunky one like you'd hear in a fucking brutal death metal album. I don't know. I just feel like Al was really trying this time.
Yeah, I think he took his time, let some things marinate in the old tattooed, pierced up cranium of his, and put out some interesting takes on the Ministry sound.
Yeah, and some of it I would say is like very forward thinking, just in terms of like expanding the sound more, but also kind of a going back to the roots kind of album, because there's stuff that is just flat out like, hey, we're back at goth night, and I'm gonna go hit on this chick with the red hair and the sharp pointy teeth.
Yep.
Not even gonna ask about the teeth.
Because those designer pills you took before you got there are just about ready to go.
Yep, you'll be smelling colors in no time. The scent of her hair is in the air.
It smells like Marlboros and pleather.
I'm gonna go buy her a fucking cranberry juice and vodka. We Shall Resist and Death Toll, kind of oddities of songs in terms of, well, when you picked up on Ministry, if you picked up on them when we did, not so odd. But if you're listening to their current stuff, yeah, not much sounds like this.
Yeah.
The slow brooding song with We Shall Resist with sort of a groaning spoken word throughout there.
Like a pulsing bass drone throughout the whole thing.
It slowly builds, big kind of almost doomy riffs in there. It's just kind of this brooding, ugly song. And then Death Toll is a flat out like goth night hip hop track.
Yeah, kind of.
It's a hip hop beat. You keep getting an increased. The death toll is at 10,000, and of course, Kenneth Copeland comes to save us all from COVID-19. That's the wind of God, in case you were fuzzy.
Yes.
Al makes sure you're not fuzzy on that because he loops the living shit out of that, and it's fucking hilarious.
It works well and it's funny.
But yeah, this album is really interesting. I really like this. Like, for the first time in a while, I've actually sat down and listened to an entire Ministry album a couple of times and wasn't like, Al, you shit the bed and got my money again.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I'm glad to give him my money. Overall, I'm actually going to give this 4 stars. I am legit surprised because, again, I had no reason to believe that Al was going to come out with something like, really quality again. Nothing really against Al. When he's on, but he hasn't been on here lately. This is a return to form, kind of back to that 90s sound, but it also kind of showcases some more forward-thinking stuff in terms of bigger, more melodic songs that still sound like Ministry, just more tuneful Ministry. Smart album. I dig this. It just kind of rekindled my love for Ministry. And if you've been waiting for Ministry to put out something like this for years, like you've been a long-time 90s fan, you kind of gave up on them after Dark Side of the Spoon, this is one to definitely pick up and check out. I promise you're going to get some great callbacks on it.
My first listen, I didn't really care for it too much. The second listen got better, and I get a feeling it probably will get better the more I listen to it, because I don't know, I'm expecting every time I put on Ministry to be like, yep, the Scarecrow and everything I want to hear. I'll go 3.5. Al is an icon in my eyes. He was one of the first metal bands I was getting into. The Just One Fix video terrified me then, and it terrifies me now. But this is good. Again, kind of feel like dancing a little bit while listening to it. It's not a bad thing.
No.
At Al's age, he probably shouldn't dance.
No.
Happy birthday. His birthday is coming up. And he gave us a little bit of a gift himself. Of a pretty solid new Ministry album. Can't go wrong with Uncle Al.
Yeah. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out, there will be a link down below. There will also be a link for our giveaway once we hit 7,500 subs, which we're getting pretty damn close. I think we are under 150 from the mark. Woo! So if you have not commented on the video that is linked down below, get on there, because that's all it takes to enter. And the prize is an 8 CD stack with the new Cannibal Corpse, as donated by him, with the much cooler album cover than the one I have. And I want to swap it out, but I won't, because I'm a nice person, I think. We also still have t-shirts available, pretty much extra larges, some 2Xs, maybe a small in there. We are going to eventually reload on those, but if you would like one and are that size or know someone that size, hit us up on thrallsmetal@gmail.com. Send us a message, put shirts in it, and we will get to you with an invoice and hopefully sell you a shirt. So with that, I thank you all for watching, and we will catch you later.
How concerned are you?